All
Hi.
right, hello everyone.
Whatever.
We're gathered here on this beautiful Wednesday, May
I
1st,
hate you.
2024. And like the title says, why, Jason? Why? That is what we're here to discuss today.
Uh,
This is going to be mostly Mitchell just asking questions that he doesn't understand the answers to, and it's going to be me kind of just nutting into the computer screen.
this is the last day for Greg's laptop because of an excess of nut juice.
Wait, wait, I just noticed your name was Kansas City Chief.
There's been a trade. Jason trades with Kansas City Chief.
The 63'd.
The 63 pick, the Sarah City 49ers to Kansas City Chief. No,
Kansas
but
City Chief.
just like Jamal Charles, I'm not sure Jason knows how to read after looking at that trade, which funny enough, when I saw
All
that trade
right.
come through, I was on a podcast. We're about to start one with Brandon, uh, talking about
Uh-huh.
Tarantino movies, and right before we were about to start, I just went, no fucking way. And then we spent the next 25 minutes just talking about how stupid the league is and how you have become a new superpower. Now we'll see whether it's the KD Booker Beal type superpower where not much comes of it, but this is fantasy football. You don't have to, really rely on team chemistry. Bijan doesn't have to like Lamar Jackson.
Well, yeah, I just want to I just want to talk about the trade for a sec cuz I'm sure you and Brandon had a lot of choice things to say, but this specific trade was 3 months in the work. I had literally been negotiating with Jason and like not accepting no for 3 months. I did accept no about a week ago. I started to turn towards, okay, can I get Tyreek? Can I get Kyron Williams? I got to get like some sort of big fish before the season starts because I want to contend with you and Josh this season. But then yeah, somehow like yesterday, I threw in a Devonte and like 3 firsts, and that got the ball rolling again. And then somehow, dude, the final straw that broke the camel's back this morning was he was like, dude, I don't know. If you throw Derrick Henry in though, I'll
I
say
knew it.
yes.
I knew it.
And
Brandon and I were
and I was
debating it. I'm
like,
like, I bet it was
you're
something
really
stupid like, oh, put in Derrick Henry and I'll say yes.
well, yeah, because like he's so short-sighted that even though I'm giving him a king's ransom, um, yeah, Derrick Henry was like the final thing that did it for him somehow. I'm like, dude, Derrick Henry has a year left, maybe two, but
Yeah,
sure enough. So I
maybe
before
not
you
even
retort,
that.
I just want to read the trade. So yeah, I just want to read the trade though. So today, I got Bijan Robinson from Jason. I ended up trading away Devonta Smith, Derrick Henry, and then 3 firsts, 3 future firsts, one of which was your Mitchell 2025 first. So thank you very much for that. And you were a part of history. And then there was also 2 seconds, 2 more thirds, and then like 2 6, 2 sevenths, and a dry hand job.
That's what kind of feels like the whole league got with this trade. Just the driest of dry hand jobs. I look at it from Jason's perspective, and honestly, I do get why he'd accept the trade. I do understand why with 3 firsts and all those seconds and everything else. I understand why he
And
would accept that
Devontae.
trade. Yeah, well, I don't view Devontae quite as highly. I view him highly as on a, if I was like starting a football team, but in fantasy, he's very hit or miss. He has a lot of weeks where he just kind
Mhm.
of has 2 catches for 25 yards, and you're like, well, damn. Um, but for you, first of all, the fact that you were able, this is the thing that
Well,
pisses me off most. The fact that you were able to hold on to the number one overall pick and the number two overall pick, and that you didn't have to include either of those. Because if I was dealing with you, we were joking earlier in the week about the kind of attacks that it feels like you're having put on you because you have so many picks. It's like, well, then you can
mhm.
afford to lose so many picks. But if you had that,
Mhm.
I would have basically required that to be a part of the deal if I was trading someone like Bijan Robinson away.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I was just trying to get out of this negotiation to get Bijan Robinson. I was just trying to get out with Jameer Gibbs still, CD Lamb still, and then my first two picks, which will be Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors. I was like, if I can have those four with Bijan, then I'm set for 8 years. I already have Lamar. I have a couple other guys in Zay Rice and Devon A. Chain, all of which
Vroom
I
vroom.
kept.
Yeah.
But we'll get to my roster in a sec. But yeah, and at one point, I'm telling you, it looked like he was going to stick to his guns. He did really want Neighbors, like for most of it, and then
Especially since
somehow,
he's on the
I
Giants
guess
now.
when I
He's a
flashed
Giants
him
fan.
Derrick Henry, yeah, when I flashed him Derrick Henry, though, he forgot all about Malik Neighbors. It was like it was crazy,
What? That's like
but
that's
I
like being into, I don't know, Sydney Sweeney or something, and then it's like, oh well, Susan Boyle's at the bar, so I've forgotten all about that. What?
I knew I knew you were gonna say Susan Boyle. Do not compare King Henry, who won you a championship in this league, to Susan
No, he
Boyle.
didn't. He wasn't active. I've never played a playoff game with Derrick Henry on as an active player. No,
Oh,
no,
it
no,
was
no.
Dare Agumbawale?
It was Dare Agumbawale. It was Noah Fant. It was Cooper Cup, who I'm working on getting back. Um, Debo Samuel, DK Met, Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny really won me the title. So
Oh
yeah,
my
no,
gosh.
Derrick Henry. I have
Alright.
never played a playoff game with Derrick Henry ever. So I don't have to thank him for
Okay,
shit.
my mistake. Alright, well, let's talk now that you've had some time, you've had about, like, 9, 10 hours to cool down and kind of process, chew on the trade. I wanna hear your honest, response to so let's grade this because I haven't thought about the grades too much, but let's start with Brandon. Let's start with Jason. If you were giving him an actual
Brandon probably
grade
failed in this
for this
trade too, though.
trade,
No, I will
if you
say
were giving
Brandon did
Jason though
fail in this
an
trade because
honest,
without the
objective
Derrick Henry
grade,
deal, this doesn't happen. Which I think that the Derrick
yeah,
Henry deal was kind of like the thing that kind of Brandon and me. I will say Brandon and I, because Brandon gave you Derrick Henry for a second, which I thought was a good deal for Brandon, but also I liked it for you. Like I thought, okay, like a 1 year rental.
Mhm,
I mean, I probably lean towards Brandon winning the trade, but I get it. And then last night, I was
mhm.
trying to get into the Bijan sweepstakes as well, but I knew that I wasn't going to be able to touch any of your offers. And Jason hit me with the, well, on the off chance that I did make this trade, can I get Rashad White? What would the price be on that? And I gave him a price on Rashad White. And now that he's actually made the trade, I'm not trading Rashad White to him at all. That's not happening, just out of spite.
What, dude? You could get like 3 firsts for Rashad. Do it.
Well, yeah, the original price was a one in Terry McLaurin. I now need two ones in Sam Laporta. So the price of the brick just went
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yesterday's price
Well,
is not today's
well. All right.
price.
Yeah, I know. That's what I've heard. But no, but let's give Jason a true grade. Like just in a vacuum for his situation, what do you grade this for Jason?
If I'm going to be 100% honest, I'm going to give him a B plus because I think that he was stuck in
Okay.
mediocrity and he needed to get rid of Kemba Walker. You know, in order to get rid of me, you either want to suck or you want to be good. And the last 2 years, ever since he took over from, I don't even remember what her name was. Um, he's been in seventh place
Oh,
both
Josh's ex?
seasons. Yeah, he's been in seventh place both seasons.
Yeah.
But there's an angle, and I'm gonna give you, you know, get the lube out. I'm gonna, make you jizz a little bit. I'm giving you an A plus because you got to think about this from two perspectives. One, you had all that to give up, and you still didn't give up one and two, which means this year you get Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors. And last year, you got the top two damn picks with Bijan Robinson and Jameer
See,
Gibbs. So you got the top two picks
that's
in back to back drafts.
yep. And and two really, really good drafts with two really, really good top two guys.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you got two running backs in one, two receivers in the other, and you already had. I have a list of 5 guys that I deem to be untradeable. That if I had them, you could offer me like millions of dollars. I mean, maybe not that, but like anything in the draft trade world. Uh, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St.
Hey.
Brown, and Bijan Robinson. So now you have 2 of the 5 guys. No one else has more than one. Josh doesn't even have one of those
Oh,
guys.
we're we're gonna get to yeah, we're gonna get to my roster in a sec,
And you
but
have 2 of my next
I agree
5.
with you.
I have Marvin Harrison
Yeah,
Jr.
we're gonna
7th,
get. I have four top. Yeah,
and then
I have
Gibbs
four top
next.
10 dynasty assets. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so here's we'll get to my roster in a sec because it's scary hours. But I also thought B plus for Jason just because you're right. This dude was not winning the chip. He was smack dab in the middle. I just think he's got my entire 2025 and 2026 draft. He's going to be able to retool very quickly now in a couple years. And his roster currently, it's not like it sucks. Like he's still a middle of the road team with all this extra draft capital. If he wants to flip it immediately, and go for it, good for him. I don't think he's going to be able to find suitors because everyone's a prick in this league and doesn't like to trade. But
He could still
if he wants to
realistically
play
make
the
the
long game, he
playoffs.
could do that too.
Given
He
how
can
many
make the
people in
playoffs
this
this
league
year.
suck, he could get in the 6th spot.
Yeah. Yeah, so I also thought B plus. Now, for me, I didn't say A plus. I said A just because I do at the end of the day, like, yes, if you can get Bijan Robinson, you get him every time, but like on paper, this was an overpay. I have I use Fantasy Pros as kind of like my go-to dynasty website, and they have a trade value chart. And basically, Bijan is like 75. Devonta Smith is like 59. Future first round picks are like 20 points. Derrick Henry was like another 20 points. It ended up being basically 75 points for Bijan to like 158 that I was giving away in the package. So, like, on paper, I think Jason won it, and I'm still one injury away from, things getting kind of dicey. But again, at the end of the day, you give it an A every time because, I mean, I just got the number one dynasty running back asset in the world. So.
Yeah, and you didn't have to give up. That's the thing for me is yes, you overpaid, but I think the luxury of being able to keep 1 and 2, you overpay for the ability to keep those picks. So if
Right.
you can give significantly more, if it means that you get to hold on to 1 and 2, I think you made the right decision in doing it.
Yeah. And one other thing I wanted to bring up because like it's so easy just with the trade specifically today, it's so easy for Howie to react like, "Oh, we got beef now." Like that's a messed up trade. Like Howie doesn't get first of all, he wouldn't even Howie is so much lower of a GM than I am. This took 2 years of patient sucking and just pulling the strings, getting Michael over here, dangling a carrot in front of his face and Mike Williams. It took me dangling Taysom Hill in front of Brandon's face. I played all these guys for 2 years, just sat back, collected assets a la Sam Presti, and now this is my crowning moment. I drafted well last year, getting Gibbs, Flowers, HN, 3 great starters. Other than this trade, and I got lucky in the draft lottery by getting Marvin Harrison off of Michael's pick. Otherwise, it's not like I fell ass first into this current position. Like I built this from the ground up after you sent my ass home from the playoffs 2.5 years ago. Kendall Blanton, Matt
Kendall
Prater,
Blanton.
Cooper Kupp. From that moment on, I was on a road to this day, and now this day today was the payoff, and it feels amazing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been. I do remember that Monday night of just Matt Prater, just like 58-yard field goal after 58-yard field goal. Cooper Kupp had like 12 catches for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns, like he did in every game that year. And Tyler Higbee was just on the sideline, like I thought maybe he had COVID. But Kendall
He
Blanton,
had
I think he
COVID.
had like
He wasn't on the sideline.
Yeah, no, I think Kendall Wayne had like 2 catches for 4 yards, so you weren't really getting past me that day. Um, but unlike a lot of yeah, a lot of really, I don't even know if I want to say the word stupid, although I think it applies. Just people who probably should vacate their spot as far as being in a dynasty league that are clearly not as, if we have half of the league that's committed to it and half the league that's not, then Jason, you can only suck so much if you're gonna not like just do what you did and trade away everybody and you know do what you did with getting rid of all your bench players to just kind of keep milking those potential points away so that you would have a better
Yeah,
shot at the draft lottery. You knew exactly how to do it, and everyone else either just seems like content on, like, I think Emily's had 2 starting lineups the entire time that she's been in the league, and you just
yeah.
can't do that. But I'm also surprised that you were able to do it this quickly because of that. Because you have people in this league that are
Well,
so bad that you know,
yeah.
by just not paying attention.
Well, it was kickstarted by the Michael trade, the Mike Williams trade, obviously getting Zay Flowers and Marvin Harrison out of that, but it doesn't go with it. Like, a lot of sacrifices had to be made last year. It's not easy to. I traded away Jordan Love, Trey McBride,
Thank you.
Cole Kmet. I traded away some good players that I knew probably had value, but like I was tanking the value of my team again for this moment to be able to be put in a position where I might have a chance at a Marvin Harrison or a Malik Neighbors, and now somehow I'm gonna end up getting both, and then to be put in a position where you have enough assets to go after the Moby Dick of all whales in Bijan Robinson. Like, not everyone can do this. And I just think Howie poo-pooing on my moment, like, I get it. He's salty. He's salty that I didn't want to give him Devonta and like 4 firsts for Tyreek, whatever. It's fine. But like, you don't just, this wasn't luck. You don't just fall ass first into this. And Jason wasn't a dumbass for accepting the trade today.
No, not at all. I think that Jason, again, I want to give Jason credit, but also at the same time, like I said before, I don't really know if this changes where he finishes too much. I think at the end of the day, like, you ever see those where it's like Pittsburgh Steelers odds to win the Super Bowl before adding Russell Wilson and after, and it's the exact same thing. I feel like I feel like Jason's odds to win the title are like the same, just because who are you moving above him that's in the bottom half of the league? And who are would you move
Yeah.
Jason above? You wouldn't. Like, is
They
Michael
went
Hawes now better
they
than
went from like,
Jason? No.
no, Michael Hawes has Puka and literally just picks.
Yeah, like, I want to trade
But
for Zamir White, but I'm also just like, I feel like I would be like, or I wanted to make it an offer for Puka, but I'm like, I feel like if I did that, I'd be like taking a homeless man's like last shoe. You can't do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And one other point though that we've been texting a lot about, just trading in general in this league. Like, I'm excited to hopefully start, a new dynasty league in July, August, because just trading in general with these schmucks, like, it's gotten old real fast. I don't mind that, like, when people are sticklers and kind of give you a hard time, but it's just the fact that they're trying to have it both ways. Like, when Josh is offering me a third rounder for Devon Achan after he was a first round pick who goes off for 200 yards the week after he has 200 yards and 4 touchdowns, and then meanwhile Brandon Price is asking for a first rounder for Brock Purdy. So, like, I'm confused. Are draft picks valuable or not to these people? Well, it seems like whatever the opposite of what I'm trying to do, that's what's more valuable. So, I'm just happy I was able to get the payoff today with Jason. Like, for all I shit on him, at least he can be negotiated with, and he's not a props to him.
You know that that whole thing on Twitter where it's like it always be two dumb bitches telling each other exactly. That's what it feels like negotiating with some of these people, where it's just like, okay, oh, so you're awful when it comes to what you want in a trade, and you're awful can we get some of these dumb people like dealing with each other? Can we get like an Elijah and Brandon Price trade? Like, what would that even look like? Because I tried the trade with I asked Elijah about Kyron and he said a third, and man, that made me some kind of angry. And then Brandon Price and I have been kind of haggling over Joe Mixon for the last day and a half. And at first he wanted a first round pick, and I'm like, no, there's no way Joe Mixon is worth a first round pick. And then he's like, well, I can take multiple seconds. And I'm like, that's still Joe Mixon is not that kind of back. So now I have
Yeah,
to
he's like
turn my
28.
attention exactly. So now, and it's not Christian McCaffrey 28 either, where it's like, yeah, he's also the whole
Yeah,
team. So now I have to turn my
yeah.
attention to the my Moby Dick for the time being is Travis Etienne. If I could pull him off of Colin,
Oh,
that's what I really want. And I've made Colin substantially bigger offers, and y'all dumbasses have made me desperate because Josh, it feels like you and Josh both have just such like loaded rosters, but you also have picks. And I have a roster that's really, really good, but I still feel like it's lagging behind what you guys have been able to put up there. And I between ETN and being able, I don't think Tyreek's going to happen because Howie wants multiple firsts, and I just
I,
that's not happening. Um,
I,
but maybe
I
Diggs
think you
or
got a
Cup.
better chance. Yeah, yeah. I think you have a better chance of getting Tyreek week 7 or week 8. Once Howie realizes that that ship has sailed. But
Yeah, but I also know I'm going to be competing against both you and Josh to get him.
no, I'm there. I don't think I have enough assets to get Tyreek Hill now. I mean, yes, the 2027 draft picks will come in at some point, like after our draft this
This
year. But
year,
I'm
but
not. I don't. I'm not going after Tyree. Dude. Literally, no one. I'm not going after a single player right now, except for the ones I draft in August. Like I might go after a Travis Kelsey or like a Mark Andrews tight end, kind of down the road, if you're up for it. But no, I don't want a running back.
so you currently, I mean, you have. I'm really looking forward to seeing who all you have to drop as a result of the draft. It's kind of like my draft is
Mm-hmm.
getting all the people that you have to dump because you just have so many picks.
Yeah.
And I've kind of operated in that fashion. So if anything, maybe we can communicate on who you pick so that you can get someone that I can just
Oh
swoop in on waivers. Um, but
well,
you don't have a
I'll
first round pick
yeah.
until 2027 after this year. But I know it's not technically speaking. If you're going to go out getting the top two guys of the previous 2 years draft before your first year without having a
Yeah.
first round pick.
So I just want to paint a picture now of my roster because we've talked about it a little bit, but uh, the word I like to use with my roster right now is autopilot. I'm basically about to put my roster on autopilot for the next 8 years. And even if I don't do anything, you could have a chimpanzee manage my team for the next 8 years, and there's a good chance I'm going to make the playoffs all 8 years. I'm probably going to win at least a couple chips, and I'll probably be in a few finals. Again, autopilot. Listen to this quarterback. I probably need to get a backup quarterback at some point, but I've got Lamar Jackson, who's a top 5, top 6 fantasy quarterback, only 27, so he's still got hopefully at least 8 more years. Okay, running backs: Bijan, age 22; Gibbs, age 22; Devon Achan, age 22. I've got 3 top 5, top 10 running backs, all at the start of their career, at least 7, 8 years left, before they're even age 30. So that's amazing. Tajay Spears too is like a little, extra Hershey's kiss there. Wide receivers then. So those 3 running backs. I've got 5 starter caliber receivers. CeeDee Lamb, who's only 25, he's probably got at least 8 more good years left. Rasheed Rice, Zay Flowers, they're 24, 23. And then the 2 young guys I'm about to draft, Marvin Harrison, 21, and Malik Neighbors is only 20 years old. I'm not trying to be a pervert. I
Oh,
normally, I've sworn off the young people now, but like 20 years old, that's pretty handsome. So, I, again, all these guys I can just ride on autopilot for 7, 8 years. In the case of Neighbors and Marvin Harrison, 10, 12 years. But and then tight end, I got to figure out tight end a little bit. Schultz, Kraft, Dulcich right now. Maybe I'll try to draft the Ben Sinnott guy from the Redskins, or trade for someone there. But on the whole, dude, I mean, I don't have to touch my roster. Literally, I don't even need picks. That's why it was such an easy decision to make the trade with Jason, because like I have 3 running backs and 5 wide receivers who are amazing. I don't need to touch this roster at all.
yeah, man. You make a great case for just completely tanking my roster. Because my guys are definitely maybe not this year, but 2, 3 years down the line when my guys get a little bit older and your guys are just stepping into their prime, if that. Um, yeah, man, fuck. It's gonna be tough
It's
to compete.
well,
Or I don't know
it's
about tough to
because
compete
I mean, I
because
really think
I think that you, me, and Josh are the very clear top three, and then there is a massive, like a canyon between the rest of the league.
well, yeah, I'm gonna get to my tiers because I actually did a 2024 asset analysis a couple months ago, and I did break up the league into 6 different tiers. Um, but no, one other thing that you just made me think of. What was I gonna say? Crap, now I forgot. What were you just saying?
I was just talking about the canyon
Oh,
between the top three teams and the rest of the league.
yeah, yeah. No, no, but the lining up of the ages, because like, so Josh's team is very, very impressive, but you still have guys like Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, who maybe have a couple years left. AJ Brown isn't quite on the, he's 26, 27. Like he's kind of right entering smack dab into his prime. And then he does still have, Jonathan Taylor 25. But then, he still has the really young guys like Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. So
Get my
props
left
to him
nut
for
and get
those.
one of
But
those.
it's kind of not, well, I know, but it's not a perfect storm of all the ages being on. It's like the Green Bay Packers right now in real life, how kind of all of their good offensive pieces are like 22, 23, 24. The way I coordinated all the ages, they're all like in the same era. So now again, I don't have to touch anything for at least 8 years. Then maybe when Bijan, Gibbs, HN are like 29, I can start to maybe think about selling them, or I could just ride them into the dirt and then have a hard reset in 2034. That's fine. I'm going to be sitting on 4 chips and like 7 other Super Bowl appearances. So I'll be happy.
Yeah, both of you guys have done a really good job of just like picking the right people as well. I think that that's something that, uh, Jason kind of fell into it with Bijan, but he's had a lot of trouble picking the right people. Looking at you, Traylon Burks, but like Emily, for example, I think her last 2 first round picks are Sky Moore and Quentin Johnston. I mean,
Oh,
that's about as
or what
bad as
about
you can get.
Colin? Talk about Colin.
Colin
No, no, talk about
Collins
Colin.
Colin went with Bryce Young. Like, why would you do that? He already has Trevor Lawrence and Jared Goff. Why would he have taken Bryce Young? I still don't have an answer because I'm not sure Colin exists. I don't know if he's a real person. I've never seen him. I've never met him. I don't know if he actually exists.
Yeah,
But he picked Bryce Young,
yeah.
and that means that
Well,
when he has, let me see, what pick does he have this year? He's pick number 4, which means he's probably either going to go with Jonathan Brooks or Xavier Leggett. He seems like one of those I'm just going to pick the Panthers players type of people. And good luck. Yeah, let's pick players from the
yeah.
absolute shittiest organization in
Oh,
football.
well, now that you say that, Let's do a quick mock draft real quick. This wasn't on my
Jeez.
rundown. Not that I even sent you a rundown, but I want to do a really quick mock draft, at least for like the first round or two. We'll just go through very quick. Um, Let me start this up on my phone because I think that'll be fun to look back on. All right, so obviously I'm going 1-2. I'm going Marvin and Malik, and then what is it? Emily at 3. She's got to go Roma Dunze, right?
That's got to be Roma Dunze, unless she has some hang up with having multiple Bears players, but I doubt it.
Multiple Bears. Oh yeah, she does have DJ Moore, but why can I not? All right, start mock draft. Why is it not showing? It's like team 1, team 2, team 3. I
Yeah,
just
no, I noticed that with their drafts. But I'm looking
Oh,
at the
here we
actual
go. Okay,
draft
I
board.
got it.
Number 4 is
Yeah.
Colin.
So okay, so yeah. So you mentioned Colin. So Colin, I mean, he's got to go. I don't like Xavier Worthy at 4. I'm seeing a lot of mocks with Worthy at 4. I would still go with Brock Bowers at 4.
That's what I do.
Is that?
I mean, I
I
know
mean, I know
Isaiah
the
likely had
landing
some
spot with
good
the Raiders.
games last year, but that shouldn't prevent you from taking Brock Bowers.
Yeah, because if there was I mean, another like if Jonathan Brooks was really a legit a running back prospect, or if Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy, these guys are close, but like at this point, we know Colin better not go quarterback again. If he picks Caleb Williams, I mean that'll be the joke of the century. But I think it's got to be Bowers at 4, and then Zelig has to be the one to pull the trigger on Caleb at 5. He's got Stafford. He needs a quarterback.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Although, never mind, he's not. I keep getting him confused with Elijah. He's not the Patriots fan, so we don't have to worry about him being like, "Let's go, Drake May."
No, no, no. I think so. Yeah, Bowers at 4. Zelig then takes Caleb at 5. Jason, I think if it's any indication by our very long hours of conversation today, I'm pretty sure he wants to go Jonathan Brooks at 6, is what he told me.
Okay, good,
So
because that leaves.
yeah,
I'm gonna go a little inside baseball here. Maybe I
yeah.
shouldn't be sharing this information with you, but it is what it is.
Um,
Um,
I'm not going to tell
this
anyone. I don't care.
this this draft, as far as running backs go, is very slim, but there's a lot of good receivers.
Hmm.
So I'm really
Hmm.
hoping that Trey Benson is available at number 7, because he's only
Really?
behind. I loved him coming out of Florida State. I think he should have been a second round pick, and he was, I think, the second pick of the third round. So he's going to get a lot of opportunities to play. James Conner's old as fuck and not very good. So I think that Benson's going to be starting there before the leaves start to change colors, and that's
Wow!
definitely now.
I
Now I've been
I can't wait to
tempted.
draft Benson at second overall now.
Please do that. I wouldn't mind that at all. Um, just to not have you not get Malik Neighbors. Um, but there's a lot of temptation to go with like Worthy or Thomas, but I think that I can still get a good player at the receiver position in the second round. Now, if Odunze is somehow still there at 7, I'm not going to pass him up.
Mm,
That's not something I can do. Hell, if Bowers is there at
I
7, I
mm,
might be tempted to do that and then just deal Andrews away, but probably not.
yeah. If again, I think Jason with Brooks and then Zelig with Caleb are pretty high probabilities. I think if Emily, you mentioned she loves Mahomes, she likes the Chiefs. Maybe she goes Xavier Worthy. I think
There's
Colin
a
then no
chance that
brainer has
happens.
to take Rome. But
Yeah.
Colin's got to scoop up Rome at 4 then. So you might get Bowers at 7, Brock Bowers at 7 for all you know. But I don't think you're getting a Dunze.
Yeah. I think if Bowers and Benson were still on the board, I'd probably still take Benson just cuz I have Mark Andrews, but I go back and forth on that.
Huh. All right. So then 8, I mean 8. Brandon Price, probably then either we'll say Xavier
Brian
Worthy and
Thomas.
Brian Thomas go 8, 9 in some order between Brandon and Elijah. I also insider information. I mean, there's no way I'm getting this guy at 202, but Lad McConkey, I feel like he could be a breakout star right away on the Chargers. I mean, they have literally no one else.
Yeah.
So,
No, I'm with you. I wasn't as high on McConkey as everyone else was, but I like where he ended up.
yeah. So then, okay, so yeah, so probably two more receivers then at 8 and 9. Zelig then has 10 and 12 sandwiched. In there is Michael at 11. He's got your first round pick. So Zelig, Michael, Zelig. Um, assuming he takes Caleb at 5, I definitely see him getting a receiver here. He just got Pacheco and Jalen Warren from you. That's got to be a potential spot for Lad McConkey.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, Yeah, and then I don't even know. I mean, Michael just needs anything. Again, that man has Puka as an asset. He's got a lot of Howie's draft picks because Howie got very desperate last year. He's got some of Brandon's picks, but Michael
That
just needs
seems
anything.
that seems like the Keon Coleman spot.
Oh, see, I would also kill for Keon Coleman at 202, but again, I don't think he's dropping.
And then Zelig
Um,
with that 12th
and
pick,
then
I would probably
yeah, when
lean towards like a Leggett, probably.
okay, yeah, he's a Panthers fan. When do you think we don't have to do the second round then? I'm just curious cuz like at that 202, I would definitely take like a Trey Benson or a Keon Coleman if they were to
Benson's
fall
not
that
getting to
far
you.
somehow. But yeah, I'm really hoping that Jaden Daniels goes in those first 13 picks. Where do you think Jaden Daniels will end up going in our draft?
It's very tough to predict where people are going to land as far as quarterbacks go because there's really not a need for them. But we have people in this league that think
Mhm.
that because quarterback's the most important position in football, that they need to pick the guy that went number 2 overall. And Jaden Daniels can also
Exactly.
run. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I wouldn't say Michael Hawes took him because he has Tua. Brandon Price is CJ
Yeah,
Stroud,
he's got
Elijah maybe? I mean, no, because he is Dak.
he's got
S-
Dak. I mean, yeah.
I don't really know.
Zelig
That's
will probably already Caleb. Yeah.
it's
You've
a good
got
question.
multiple quarterbacks.
It's
Jason has Herbert.
Yeah, I'm not. I can see
I
Jason
mean,
going quarterback. I could see Jason not round 1, but I can see Jason in the second round being like, you know what? Let's throw a dart at Drake May or JJ McCarthy. I mean, I wouldn't
yeah.
do that,
I guess
but
I'm just worried. I guess I'm worried that like Benson, Keon Coleman, Ricky Parasol, like all those guys, Blake Corum, I don't even know. All those guys are going to be gone at 202, and I'm going to have to take Jaden Daniels or Drake May because, like, I am in the business for a backup quarterback. I wouldn't mind taking those guys. I'd prefer a Keon Coleman, but you
I
know,
don't think Keon Coleman's going to get to you at 2 in the second round, but it's not impossible. I would give it like a 25,
yeah,
30% chance of him being there. I think you're a lot more likely to end up with like a
yeah,
Ricky Pearsall or an Adonai Mitchell who's on the Colts. I think that's someone that you could end up with. Whereas at the end, do you
yeah.
have any other second round picks? Or is that the only one you have?
No, so I traded the 207 today to Jason. That was like one of his other hanging points. So
Yeah. You have a lot of these people that are like, I want my pick now, and it can help you out a bit if you use that to your
I
advantage.
know,
I think that I'll be able to
like,
get Tyreek Hill for like just that first if I just wait. Because Howie really likes to make
well,
picks, but he
mm,
also likes dealing picks away.
well, I'm telling you, Howie was adamant he needed at least Devonta and a first, which I was like, dude, I can't do that. Devonta and Tyreek have very similar
No.
dynasty values.
Yeah.
Tyreek is
No.
retiring in 2 years. You know,
Yeah. No, that's like
so
when
I just
when
couldn't
I
do it.
talk I talked to Josh about Garrett Wilson and he's like, well, it
Hmm.
would be Amon Ra in a first. I'm like, for Amon Ra
What?
in a first, you better be offering me like the Lord. Like there's
It
no, like Justin
how
Jefferson
is
for Amon-Ra
how
first,
is Josh
maybe, but probably still not because of who the
Josh's
Vikings quarterback is now. Like,
Yeah,
no.
Josh's calibration is always 2 firsts off. Like, that should be Garrett
Yeah.
Wilson and a first for Amon-Ra, but somehow it's
Exactly,
Amon-Ra and a
yeah.
first for like,
Like,
I don't
Amon-Ra
understand.
is a reception magnet, no. But as far as my late second round pick, I think I'm gonna go with a
Yeah?
receiver here at the back end because there are a lot of guys that were picked in like the third or fourth round. Like Troy Franklin went to Denver. I don't think he'll still be there.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really hoping that my guy Malachi
Well,
Corley is available with that pick.
yep,
I think Jermaine Burton or Roman
yeah.
Wilson would be a good one as well.
Yep. Well, yeah, when I still had the 207, I wrote down potentially Troy Franklin for that, and then for my 301, I put Corley, Roman Wilson, and then the 2 tight ends, Sinnott, Jatavian, and then, all those running backs, Allen, Estime, Ray Davis. But yeah, so that's what I was thinking too. Um,
If Corley's there
but
at 2
we will
11, we
see.
can already just go ahead and send that one in. I'm a
You said
big
what?
Corley. I said if Corley is there at 211, go ahead and send that in. I love him. And that's even before he got drafted by the Jets. I was like, please take this guy. I loved him so he's basically Debo, but like not quite as big. And
Hmm.
I just love him. And I gotta get
You
Debo.
should go get
But
another Jets receiver, Mike
Alan Lazard.
Williams.
You know what's funny is I actually DM'd Michael about like, hey, what's the price on Mike Williams? But I never heard back. I don't think he can deal Mike Williams.
he's he's probably scarred. He can't trade
Yeah,
Mike
Mike
Williams.
Williams cost him Marvin Harrison. He's got to feel like how Dave Tepper feels when
Yeah.
he's like looks at what Caleb Williams is doing in Chicago.
Or when he's taking hats off of restaurant managers.
Oh
All
man,
right. Well, before we get off, I just wanted to do a quick kind of look around, take stock of our fantasy league as a whole now. So, like I said, I did kind of an asset analysis for all 12 teams. This was a few months ago, so things have changed a little bit. Obviously, I have way less picks now, but I got that Moby Dick King killer whale in Bijan. So I did 6 letters: A, B, C, D, E, and F. Those are the first 6 letters of the alphabet. I said A, Kings of the next 8 years. This is just Josh and Greg. What do you think about that?
that is more than fair. Who else would you
Okay.
put up there?
All right.
My team's a little too old.
Yeah, I mean, all right. How about this? Over under next 8 years. Over under Greg and Josh combined championships 6.5.
I'm gonna take the under on that simply because I mean, we've had 3 years so far, and Zelig stumbled under into a chip. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like we've already seen some pretty dumb things happen. We had Zelig win a chip, and then last year our title game was decided by less than 1 point. So I think
Oh
that
yeah.
yeah, no, I'm still really pissed off about that. But I think that weird things happen. And so if the number was 5.5, I think I'd be more inclined to take the over on that. I think that 6.5 is a good number. It's a fair number, but uh, like you did in your sports betting explained video, which I checked out today. Good work. Um, you
Ah, thanks,
it's
bro.
depending on one of the things that I really liked how you explained it is kind of like the you explained the how it's like a betting tax. How like you might bet like the line at -1.5, and then that might be like -105. Depending on what the
Yeah,
betting
yeah.
tax was on the under, that's what I would take. But sometimes, like for example, I was trying to bet on like NFL draft positions, and for like Roma Dunze under I think it was under 8.5, which actually didn't hit. It was like -200. And so I'm like, all right, well, I don't think it's that much
Oh,
of a lock, so I'm taking the over.
oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah, depending on what that was, but I just wanted to give you props on your top notch explanation of that. I would take the under personally.
Yeah. I appreciate the listen and the subscription and your continued support of the Snowman Sports Media.
Oh no, I
But
unsubscribed. No, I'm
let's
just
get
kidding.
to our second let's get to our second tier now. I called this one X Champ with options, and it's just Mitchell Lee in my
I was gonna
B
say, don't
tier.
you
He
dare
is
put me in the
alone
same
on
tier
the
as Zelig.
no, no.
What
So
options does
so
he
you're
have?
you're alone, X champ with options. And personally, my note about you and your team, like I would love to see you continue to go for it and keep the band together until the wheels kind of fall off because your team has been by far the most successful franchise these first 3 years with a title and then two finals appearances in back-to-back years. I would love to see, even though me and Josh are kind of the two favorites now, I'd love to see you make another run at the final. Basically, keep going for that consecutive LeBron final streak until it breaks, and then maybe reshuffle. But still, you're the third, easily the third place guy in terms of total assets right now.
No, I agree with you on that. 100%. And yeah,
All right, C.
the we're about to see
Anything
a
else?
big drop off, and that big drop off is what's
Mm-hmm.
keeping me from just saying, you know what? I think Greg and Josh have things a little too under control.
See, yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I my point system was arbitrary, but like when I did this, I had 82, Josh had 79, 2 points. Josh had 79, and then you, Mitchell, you had 59. But then the next guys, it's like 44, 44, 43, 42, 41. There's a huge middle class, but you're clearly number three. So like, you're still always an injury away from either getting a bye or a crappy week away from beating me or Josh in a semifinal. I don't think it's worth necessarily blowing everything up right now.
I'm with you as far as that goes. That yeah,
Okay.
sometimes,
All right. So
like
C, yeah.
I've got a league where like Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson both had their quarterbacks get injuries. Jonathan Taylor missed 6 weeks. Achan got hurt. It's a loaded roster, but sometimes it just kind of falls like that. And if Josh or you has a year like that, I'm ready.
Yeah. Hopefully it's Josh because that would be hilarious. But um, let's let's talk about my C tier. This one I just called Brandon's. So it's Brandon 2 and Brandon Price. They're in the C tier. Yeah, they've both still got like a lot of good pieces. Brandon Price hit the CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud was what, the 210, 211 pick last year?
Yeah.
Genius pick there. He's still got some good players, and he doesn't have a first round pick in 2025. He actually gave that to Josh for George Pickens of all people. So he's kind of got to try hard this year. And then Brandon too, we know he kind of retooled with Saquon, and he's got still Travis Kelsey still, and Kenneth Walker, Jamar Chase, a lot of good players. So what do you think about that? Just the Brandons.
I think that's fair because Brandon 2 has by far, I mean, he is Jamar Chase, and I sent him an offer for Jamar Chase today. He basically told me to go fuck myself, but I kind of expected that, if we're being honest. Um, but apart from that, his teams are kind of like Kelsey's old. Kenneth Walker is, he's not like an elite back, but he's solid. He's got a lot of
Yeah,
injury prone
Javante
quarterbacks.
Williams.
Yeah, he's got a Javante, James Conner. It's just kind of an uninspired roster. Whereas Brandon Price,
Yeah,
like he's actually got like solid dudes. We got good dudes. Um, but he doesn't have anybody that's got you like, oh wow, I think he can win a title. But he's got like George Pickens, Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk, Michael
right.
Pittman,
T
T.
Higgins.
Higgins. He's got good
Yeah.
depth. And I think that if his team was to run into injury problems at receiver, he'd be fine. But the problem is, I think he's waited a little too long to get rid of some of these guys, and now he's trying to dump off Nick Chubb for like, you
Yep.
know, spare parts, and it's like, well, Nick Chubb basically is spare parts right now. I don't really know what you can get rid of him
Yeah.
for.
He
So I just don't really know what
I
you're
I
gonna do.
guarantee you I guarantee you he wants, like, at least a high second rounder for Nick Chubb or something
He
ridiculous.
offered me Nick
Like,
Chubb for a third and a fifth, so that is the most reasonable thing. But I'm also
oh,
not convinced that Nick Chubb still has lower bodily function, so I'm not
wait,
taking it.
I would kinda take Nick Chubb for a 3rd and a 5th, like, I still have some picks. Nah,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do it.
yeah. I just I
Um
even though I have Jerome Ford, not feeling it.
All right. So let's get to D and E, and then I still have F. But D and E originally, and I think I would change this now after today and what transpired with me and Jason. But D, I said better win in the next 2 years. Dot dot dot. That was Howie. Because he traded a whole host of picks to Michael late last year for what Stephon Diggs and Cooper Cup and Tyreek is in his last couple of years. And then E, I put dark horses for Jason and Elijah. Now I think I would actually, I think I would move Jason probably on the same tier as Howie, if not up with the Brandons.
Ah. No, I'd keep Jason where he is. Like I said, I don't think Jason did enough as far as this move and his return to really move up or move down in my book.
But okay, I guess we have to differentiate between short term and long term because short term, obviously, I think Howie's roster is more equipped to win a title this year over Jason. But in terms of overall roster construction, I would rather have Jason's team than Howie's. I mean, I don't know.
I guess so. I guess I'm just
The,
anticipating Howie moving Tyreek at some point
it
and getting
Yeah, it
something for
depends
him. But
if
I
Howie.
also look at Howie's roster right now and I look at his picks and the fact that he only has a fifth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th in 2025. And his first pick in 2026 is a fourth round pick. And his roster is not at
Ooh,
all one that can really, like, if Josh had that, I'd be like, okay, I understand that. Your roster's loaded. Howie is not.
yeah,
So I'd much
yeah.
rather have
If
Jason's
if I'm
roster long
Howie,
term, but I feel like I understand what you're saying, but also at the same time, I feel like Elijah's kind of getting screwed over, like if you're trying to make a trade with Elijah and you get screwed over. He's got guys like, he's got Justin Jefferson. Nico Collins became a huge asset. James Cook. Basically people that my team in 2021 was too good to keep on the roster. He's got all those guys now, and he's managed to. My spare parts are the sixth best team in the league.
your spare parts made the third place game last year.
Yeah, exactly. So that's gonna be what you and Josh
Well,
run into.
yeah. I just look outside of Josh Allen for Howie. I see a lot of guys who are about to hit the like who are on the down slope. Cooper Cup, Stephon Diggs, Chris Godwin, Raheem Mostert. These guys, they're not giving him much, if any, this year, and definitely beyond. So you know,
Yeah, I think that
Howie
he's
again.
definitely run into some problems there.
Yeah. So that's why tier D better win in the next 2 years. Dark horse is Jason and Elijah, and then F. We'll close on this. A few minutes left here. F. I said will be a while. Dot dot dot, and it is Zelig, Michael, Emily, and Colin. I guess I'll just pose the question: which of those four do you maybe have the most faith in for a turnaround?
I would say either
None of the above.
Michael or Zelig, because Emily and Colin, again, I'm not sure they exist, so I can't really give it to someone that isn't really trying. Colin started to kind of deal some people away last year. So, hey, congratulations on participation. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I would probably lean towards Michael because of all that he was able to acquire last year at the trade deadline, dealing people away. But Zelig's roster is definitely a lot better, but he also doesn't have. I mean, I guess his top asset is Drake London. I don't know about you, but I value Puka more than Drake London.
Yeah,
And Zelig
Zelig does
has
have 3
three
first
first
round
round
picks
picks.
this year. Yeah. And at least he has, so he's got those 3 first rounders. He's got Pacheco, he's got, Dalton Kincaid, George Kittle, Mike Evans. He might be able to barter them for something. But I would say Zelig overall. Michael is tougher. It'll take some time, but at least at the end of the day, I want to be in business with bad GMs and bad players. That's what I did today with Jason, and it worked. That's what Michael did, taking Howie's first and second for both 2025 and 2026. I think Michael, after that taste that Mike Williams left in his mouth, is finally on the track to success. So
He,
I would
he's
take
figured it
Michael
out.
of those four undesirables. Yeah.
It seems like it took him a minute, but he's finally figured it out, and that's why I'd probably lean towards taking him because Zelig. I mean, again, he ruined the league last year. That Christian McCaffrey trade decided the league, and ultimately,
Yeah.
so did my Keenan Allen trade. It was a really bad deal, Keenan Allen for Pacheco and Warren. If I had just kept Pacheco, I would have won the title because he had a big week
Yeah.
17.
Sorry I advised
But
you on that. Yeah.
yeah, no, I blame you and you alone. Um, but it seems like, but Zelig also held on to Keenan Allen for an obscenely long time, and I just
Yeah.
feel like
And
he
Mike
doesn't
Evans
quite
and
know
Adam
what.
Thielen.
And George Kittle, like he does not know what
Yeah.
he's doing, whereas Michael, I feel like has turned a corner, and maybe
Yeah.
Emily and Colin do the exact same thing, and they figure it out and realize that you have to
Well,
participate to
maybe
win,
Colin.
unless you just want to make a $40 donation every year. You might as well try. I don't know why you do that,
Yeah.
but
And yeah, and I don't know if people like the difference between you could admit there's a difference between the Bijan trade that happened today and the McCaffrey trade of last year, right? Like Zelig clearly
yes,
didn't get enough value for CMC
yes, because
and
it just
Burrow.
kind of felt that's the thing is that Burrow was involved in it as well when Josh had quarterback needs, and not only did you set him up with the quarter, because like if he hadn't made that trade, Josh would have been forced to try to get a quarterback. He might be taking Bo Nix in like the second or third round of this year's draft because his quarterbacks were
Yeah.
Fields, Howell, and Carr. And none of them, like Fields and Howell, are going to be backups. Maybe Fields beats out Russell Wilson, but it's not likely. And Derek Carr, like, there's no
Yeah.
guarantee he finishes the next year as the Saints starter. They hate him in New Orleans.
Yeah. Yeah. Go Spencer Rattler. Um, any last words on Bijan Robinson before we log off, Mitchell?
Um, I just hope that Arthur Smith finds his way back to Atlanta. They miss you in Atlanta, buddy. Maybe they. I don't remember who said it, but someone said they can have Michael Penix in the backfield now that they drafted him in the top 10, and Kirk can just hand it off
That
to
was
him.
Oz.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
good call there because they've done some really strange things, and I'm glad that I don't have to depend on any Falcons players because they're just odd. But if you're gonna get one, that seems to be the one to get, and you have made the jump from. See, I'm like the canary in the coal mine because last year I was telling everyone, stop sleeping on Josh. I know he hasn't won a damn thing, but his roster is loaded. It's young, and he's going to win a title in the next 2 years. Like I'm calling it, and everyone just was kind of like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
but what about Howie?" And I'm like, "Fuck Howie. No, this is like Josh. Josh's roster is ready to go." And I remember as soon as the season ended, I said, "All right, y'all want to listen to me now? Greg is coming." And
Yep. I
even
remember.
even more so now, like again, I went in the group chat and I was like, here are my odds. I think you have jumped from I had you either like 3 or 4. It just kind of depends on
Yeah.
who stayed healthy, but I think the fact that you had 1 and 2 made you a distinct number 3. But I think definitely behind Josh and I. But I think with getting Bijan, you leapfrogged me, and I think you leapfrogged Josh as well, to where I think you
It's
are the favorite going into the season. But and I know it's a new
yeah.
place for you to be. Now you have to manage expectations.
Yeah, for me it's tough because I still there's so much value in Christian McCaffrey, and he is going to be a non-factor hopefully 2 or 3 years from now. But I think as long as CMC is the number one running back in fantasy, then Josh is the favorite. However, I think starting maybe next year, the 2025 season, and then for the next 7 years, I might be the favorite on paper for 7 straight years. So I can live with that. I'm happy. But
Yeah, I can see that.
all right. Well, I'm gonna go, live a beautiful life now. Put my team on autopilot and just relax and enjoy things. I'm gonna go watch Luka Doncic hopefully beat the Clippers, and I hope the Knicks lose in seven. And you're a good guy.
What? Why would you want that? Why would you want that fat slob winning games?
Yeah,
No. I'm not talking Luca, I'm talking about
I
Embiid.
like the fat slob. No, I like the fat slob.
Yeah, that's what he
Yeah.
is. So,
All right.
all right.
Peace out, dude.